Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation. This is where right and left can come to try to be reasonable, and this is a special edition of the show tonight. In 1 hour, the president is expected to give a speech about why he believes things are going well with the economy and beyond. And while, yes, he can pick on economic data, on wages and different aspects of growth in the economy, he can point to it, he can point to the tariff revenue and say, look how good everything is going. My take is that message is likely to be received about as well as his Rob Reiner remarks, and for about the same reason. It will be offensive to people on the right and the left, offensive to what they know to be right. With Reiner, it's obvious. You show mercy and grace when people die, let alone when they're murdered, let alone by their own son. That's the right thing to do. And it is wrong to say everything is better when most people who voted for you are dealing with worse, and they feel that way. The idea of a tariff check sounds good. Congress won't pass it. And for small businesses, that means taking money they've had to pay as importers and giving it to other people. They still lose. Now, most of us see higher prices, more debt, and more concern about the future. Look at it. All the polling is consistent. Affordability is real. I'll tell you what the hoax is. The hoax thus far is politicians yap, but doing nothing about it. Okay? That's the hoax. Now, I have a hope, and many of you are not going to like it, but in my opinion, for the wrong reasons. Okay? Here's what drives my analysis. I want people to have better in this country. I want them to get better from this government for a change. That's what I want. I want that way more than I care about your parties. I'm not just nonpartisan. I'm anti-partisan. I know, as sure as I know my name, that these parties are the roots of what is killing our politic. There's no question in my mind. So, I know a lot of you don't think the way I do. I know you've picked a side and you see it differently and it's existential and it's good and evil. Fine, we disagree. The president has a chance tonight. The ACA subsidies expire in 2 weeks. I do not get why the right is willing to own them expiring. I get the play. The play is the ACA sucks and we'll kill it any way we can. Some points, okay? The idea that they've always hated the ACA is not true. It's a false premise. The ACA was passed because of mounting costs and a growing number of people being excluded from getting access. The idea did not come from Barack Obama. The ACA started out as a collection of ideas on the right, specifically from the Heritage Foundation, specifically that you needed an anchor proposition, which they called an individual mandate, to make sure that the young and healthy were in the pool to lower costs for everyone. Okay? I know. Irony, right? Because in their efforts to destroy the ACA, they went after exactly that, the mandate that was their idea. Why? Because they knew how important it was to the program and they wanted to destroy the program. But be clear, more people have health care now because of the ACA, and they know it. And while its problems have been well known from the beginning, the right has refused at every turn to fix any of them. And they've never offered anything better than it. Here's the thing. President Trump does not own his party's perfidy on this issue. Yeah, concepts of a plan, yeah, it never materialized. They don't want him to do anything on this. They think they win by just opposing, okay? But look, he didn't do this. This happened before him. And look, oh, but he's going to distance himself from his party? He's not like them anyway, not politically or personally. And they went bad on the ACA long before him. Imagine if the president said this tonight. The situation with health care costs is terrible. People need protection, and the subsidies matter, especially because of how lousy the system works right now. I demand both sides to bring me something better on costs and protection. Now, what's the pushback? Wait a minute, what's his plan? You think Obama pitched this idea? One of the smartest guys I've ever met in politics, President Obama. But it wasn't him. It was a team of his and multiple legislative staffs aping what Governor Romney did in Massachusetts. This is what rocketed Romney to national prominence. He put the Heritage Foundation ideas into play as the ACA before the ACA. The ACA then expanded it and did a lot more. And also, I thought the big complaint is that Trump keeps exercising executive authority too often. And the last time I checked, laws are made by who? Congress. The people who have made nothing better on this issue, and the right have certainly tried to make it worse. It is on them. The president should put it on them. The president must know the ACA is not the root of the problem. 1 in 6 of us, 44 million Americans, get their coverage through the ACA marketplace. Since its enactment, 20 million more people went from uninsured to insured. Okay? Is it enough? Does it work well? No. But we know why. It's not the funding mechanism. It's the costs. It's the private corporations and the layers of administrative and their secretive and exploitative pricing on the drug and the care side. These are the exact people Donald Trump, before, when he was just running, campaigned against. I know them. I know who's in the swamp. I know who pulls the lever. They cannot buy me. Remember all that? This is the time to show it. Call out your party and the Democrats, fine, and say, neither of you should take another dollar of PAC money from these healthcare whores until you fix this situation. Why not? He's not running again, no matter what Steve Bannon says. He doesn't care about limitations on fundraising. Go against the corporations, the people who are their patsies, and there are plenty of them on the left, because a lot of lefty lawmakers take lobbying money. In fact, the left takes more than the right from this industry. Step away from owning the problem and own the solution by putting it on both sides and say, come on, we got a million ideas. Let's do something. This is the right thing for the majority of this country because they're getting killed with increases and subpar care. And by the way, this is the part you hate most. This could be good for Trump. Since the tax credits were introduced, 77% of new ACA enrollees come from states he won. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, West Virginia. Enrollment more than tripled. And by the way, remember, the Republicans have done nothing but try to destroy the ACA since its inception, right? The red states did not do what they were supposed to do, which was expand Medicaid with waivers from the federal government. They didn't do it because they didn't want it to work. And despite that, those same states benefit from the subsidies more than anyone else. So you can try to kill the ACA like you did with the mandate, right? That's why they went after the mandate, because they knew it would hurt the ACA, but they never made it better. Remember, Democrats only need to flip 5 GOP districts to take back the House. Look at the top congressional districts that the GOP need to defend. Colorado's 8th. A 60-year-old couple is going to see a 267% spike in their premiums. Arizona's 6th, 247% increase. New York, 17, 185% increase. Pennsylvania, 7th. Congressman McKenzie's district, who's going to join me in a second, he just did what I'm suggesting. He said, listen, I'm part of the party, but man, I got to be for my people first. We got to have a vote on extending the subsidies. My district needs it. You know why? A 60-year-old couple in his district is going to see a 280% spike in their premiums. And you got to be country before party. Yes, the president can blame the ACA. He can blame the Democrats. It'll make his people go like this. It will change nothing. The GOP has done that for going on decades. They've never made anything better. The president did not create this problem. He can make his party work with Democrats. They fear him too much not to listen. And neither side can balk because we all know how crippling the costs are. The subsidies are the easiest part of the problem to fix, and they can't even do that. There's an opportunity tonight. We'll see what the president does with it. We'll all be watching. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.